Yeah.
And we're just going to do, what's up, shitters?
What's up, shitters? How's it going, man?
Awesome. How about you?
Really good. Really good. No complaints. I'm excited to be here today and talking about.
This is going to be a fun episode.
I think so. I'm excited, not only because of the topic, but also because who we have with us. Do you want to make some introductions?
I do. We've got two gentlemen joining us today. We've got Len and we've got Chuck.
What up?
How's it going?
Yeah.
Welcome back,
they have
guys.
been with us before, so welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for having us again.
Oh, my.
Really excited to be here. One question though. How many times do we have to be on before the royalties start kicking in?
Dude, when the money starts rolling in for us, then we'll be able to talk to you about that. But
Yeah.
no one's forcing you to be here, just for the record.
No, I love this topic.
You could be home right now doing chores, so you're welcome.
In all seriousness, I do love when all four of us are here on these conversations here, especially this topic. I think it's such a great topic for us, and we all are fans of what it is. So, yeah, you want to tell us what it is?
I'll tell you, today we are talking concerts.
Concerts.
Yeah, this came up. We did a episode recently about classic rock and 90s rock. So this just flows with what we talk about with this group. We're talking about concerts. Chuck, I'm going to start with you. What's your favorite K-pop concert that you've been to so far?
K-pop?
I'm just kidding.
I didn't know we were talking K-pop.
I think I met one of the members of that one night.
I think you did.
He quickly corrected me though. He was not K-pop.
So I was just kidding. But actually, what we're going to do, we're gonna jump into an episode beer, and I have requested that Len bring us a beer and tell us about it. What'd you bring, Len?
All right. Today we are sampling from Goose Island. I know that's been a show favorite.
Oh, yeah.
This is an anniversary cuvee.
Sounds French.
Which, for those non-beer drinkers, I think a cuvee is essentially when breweries have beers that aren't good enough to sell on their own. They take 4 or 5 of them and combine them, call them a cuvee, and bam, there you go. So that's what we are sampling today.
You're really selling it there.
Yeah. Sounds delicious. Look, we got leftover shit. We're putting it in a bottle for you.
All the swill at the bottom of the tasting booth, that's what is a cuvee here.
Thanks.
This is a barrel-aged ale, and it consists of a blend of English-style barley wine, oatmeal stout, rye stout, American Imperial Stout, and a quadruple ale, all kind of combined together for a massive 14.7 ABV.
Whoa.
Buckle up.
That's a large beer for Chuck there.
I
Wow.
have a 6-pack.
Cuvée. A celebratory blend of 5 unique beers that we could not sell on our own.
All right.
There
Smells
you go.
good.
All right,
Smells decent.
Does it? All right, I'm going to pour myself some.
Smells sweet.
I have thoughts, but I'm going to let you guys taste it here first.
I'm getting, I get a barley wine type of
I was just
flavor.
going to say the same exact thing.
Yeah. What does it say? I'm sorry. Again.
We do have percentages of each of the 5.
Oh, hit me with that.
48% English-style barley wine. Getting barley wine,
That'd be why.
28% oatmeal stout, 13% rye, 8% American Imperial Stout, and 3% quadruple ale. I hope that adds up to 100.
For those of us who, for everybody who can't see, I poured myself a nice big glass. Len got himself a little taster glass. Chuck has about a thimble full of beer because he's not going to like this.
I'm not digging it at all. It's not me.
All right, so
Barley wine,
It's no Modelo.
it's no Modelo. Yeah, it's no Modelo.
would you like a Miller Lite? I got Miller Lite too. It's
No, but thank you. Appreciate that.
you got to go to work
I
after this.
I don't enjoy any barley wine,
Wow,
mixed or by itself. I just can't get into it.
that is incorrect.
I do love a good barley
Aaron.
wine. I do like this one though. Honestly, it tastes a little bit. Remember when we did that flight test or that stage test of Dark Lord, and there was just that point where it started to taste a little bit more like soy sauce. And this is just, to me, that level. Like, it's very sweet, but it has a little bit more of a soy sauce flavor to it. Not a lot. It's just a hint, like it's starting that way. So I'm wondering if some of those blends, like you said, Len, are maybe some older blends that are starting to turn as they're trying to revive them a little bit.
Was there a year on this?
It says 2023.
It doesn't.
Oh.
Because that's the release year. It doesn't say what year the.
All right.
But they're all barrel aged. Oh, here we go.
Oh, he's got some info. This just in.
These have all been aged anywhere from 18 to 36 months in 11 different sets of barrels, including bourbon, rum, American rum, Barbados rum, cognac. So this is a true mix of all the shit we had left over.
Wow.
Interesting. And you know what? Now that you say that, the rum, I can see that. I'm not a big fan of rum barreled beer. It's a different taste, and I can see that now that in there. Interesting.
Yeah. I'm gonna drink it.
Listen,
it's definitely.
It's not my favorite Goose Island beer. I'll say that.
That's what I was gonna say.
But it still ranks higher than most beers out there, I would say, as far as like stouts.
Higher than most cuvées.
Most cuvées. That's right.
This is one of the better.
We'll see as we go along here. Maybe it'll get better as it warms up.
That's true. That's true. I did just pull mine out of the fridge, so right on.
There you go.
Concerts.
Cool. All right. So no K-pop.
No, but our episode today is brought to us by hearing aids.
I see what you did there. Do you wear hearing aids at concerts?
Not yet, but I have.
Okay, I'm sorry. Earplugs. That's what I meant
before, because the ringing in my ears has gotten so bad that I hear ringing all day long.
Tinnitus.
Same.
It is tinnitus.
After a show or anytime?
All day long.
Ooh,
anytime. If it's silent, I can hear the ringing in my ears.
Oh, shit.
Did some damage.
Yeah. Younger ears like that as well. And I stopped doing that the same. I start wearing earplugs when I go to the concert now too, just because.
What about your own show?
Wow. I don't wear them as much on mine, but it's different because the sound's coming from behind you and pushing forward. And so and you don't quite get the full blast of everything that the audience gets. And because you just have a little mix there and you're hearing your own instrument. So it's a little bit different. Occasionally I will, but not often. But I don't have a lot of ringing after I play either. But concerts I definitely.
All right. I think that this discussion might show our ages a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and ask, what was your first concert?
I'm gonna start right out. Ricky Skaggs, and that was in like 1986. It was I lived in the Philippines at the time, and my mom and my dad were on a day trip out there somewhere off base, and their car broke down, and Ricky Skaggs was doing a tour, American USO tour. And their bus came by, stopped, and offered to help. And they said, we'll take you back to the base, because they were heading that way anyway. So they got to spend the day with Ricky Skaggs and go out lunch and all that other stuff, drinking beers and whatever else. And they got home and they gave us some tickets to go see. So I wasn't into it. I was like 12. It was country fiddle music. It was not my shit, and it's still not my shit. But that technically was my first concert that I ever saw.
And I think that's an important clarification, and we'll get more into that. But legit, that was your first concert that you can remember going to.
Yep.
Chuck, what about you?
Robert Plant, Manic Nirvana tour.
Nice.
And who opened up for him? Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
As
cool.
we all know that you're not a fan of Steve Ray Vaughan.
Or Robert Plant.
Exactly. No, it was sophomore year in high school, so I had to be 88, 89. And they sold out the whole Coliseum. It was Hartford Coliseum, which isn't hard to do there. Smaller venue all around. It's where the Hartford Whalers used to play.
Oh, yeah.
But we got tickets from Backstage. And there was only probably about 20 people that did, so it was interesting, but we didn't care. And who comes out to open up the show? This guy named Stevie Ray Vaughan, who I knew nothing about. Got blown away from him, was watching him and listening to him. Everything that he does with the guitar, he's a true showman. And I was a fan ever after.
That was your first concert?
That was my first concert.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Pretty good first concert.
Not really? You never went to any other concerts? Mom and Dad didn't take you to a concert?
Other than like classical music, I wouldn't even
All right.
count that.
What about you, Len?
So Before I tell, I just want to say that it's interesting so far that all of us have a unique, pretty cool story about your first concert. And I wonder if that has led us all to be so interested in this. But anyway, my first concert was at Red Rocks. I went to Red Rocks.
Wow.
That was the first concert.
First concert?
My
It's only
mom's
downhill from
side of the
there.
family. Yeah, I know. My
I don't know. Have you ever been there? It's all uphill to get out.
my mom's family all lives in Colorado, and so this was before I was a teenager, probably early 90s. There was a concert going on while we were vacationing there, and we went and saw the Allman Brothers at Red Rocks.
Nice.
And it just the venue and the experience and the amazing guitar playing, and it was incredible.
Probably
It was
an incredible
awesome
vibe of the
experience,
entire
and
place.
just
Yeah,
got me hooked into going to see live music.
that's cool.
Yeah, mine's pretty exciting too. The first concert I can remember going to, my mom took me to the show, and it was the Kingston Trio. Are you familiar with them?
Yeah, the reggae band.
What?
No, nope. Kingston Trio.
Sound familiar to me.
Oh, they're like Peter, Paul, and Mary type of band. But yeah, trust me, I would know if my mom took me.
You're thinking Kingston Mines.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I know
Yeah.
That's the blues club, but
Yeah.
Anyway, nope. Kingston Trio. At least this one was an old. Yeah, like they were. Yeah,
You
Okay, I
said
know
Peter,
who
Paul, and
this
Mary
is.
kind of stuff. Yeah.
yeah, like that kind of a thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So that was the legit first concert that I can remember going to. And to be clear, mom took me to it. And it wasn't me going, yeah, let's go see Kingston Trio. They did the song Lemon Tree if you want to go look it up. Kingston Trio.
Bad Man's Blunder, Reverend Mr. Black,
Oh, look at that. Google's
Flowers.
working.
Tom Dooley. I just know.
Oh, yeah. Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Yeah.
All the research you did for this episode.
I knew he was going to say Trio,
Oh.
a band that I don't even know existed.
All right. All right. So there's our first ones. What's the first concert that I think maybe we heard yours, Chuck, but first concert that you wanted to go see and then you like, I got to go. And
That you
first time
actually
bought
purchased tickets for.
Remember standing in line with Ticketmaster?
Yeah.
You got to stand in line all day just for the tickets to go on sale. And
And maybe
then
you'll
all of a
get
sudden
in.
they
There
come
was a
out like,
lottery.
and they're, oh, we're going to do tickets and a raffle ticket and maybe you'll get in.
Right,
Why
and
am
you're
I
like,
waiting?
fuck you, dude.
I had
I'm
tickets back
first
then.
in line, man.
I waited all night.
Right.
It's a good point because buying tickets back then was a whole different
It
ballgame
totally
than it
sucks.
is now.
Yeah. I don't know that it's gotten
At
much
least-
better.
Yeah, at least you could afford them somewhat.
But, oh,
For me, it would have been Korn, standing in line to get Korn tickets. Right when it was the first tour,
Okay.
after their first album.
that was your first concert?
That was not my first
that-
concert, but that's the first show I recall going and standing in line.
That's what I
for
meant.
the Ticketmaster.
Oh, okay.
Is that when
getting
they
tickets.
toured with White Zombie?
No, it was
Before
after that.
After that?
Maybe it was after. I don't remember.
Okay. So I saw White Zombie.
I did not see
Good
White
show.
Zombie.
All right. So, what was your first concert that you paid for the tickets and you went to, Len?
He just said.
That's Korn.
Oh, that was it. I know. I thought you said it wasn't. Fuck you. Just asked. Like,
As
that was the first
previously
one. He's like, no. All
How
right.
about you, Chuck?
Chuck and the one that you mentioned? Yeah.
Robert, my very first one. I don't really remember how we got the tickets. It was 4 of us. We were all Zeppelin fans. And then Robert Plant, I don't know if he had one or two before Manic Nirvana, because there was Big Log, and then there was, anyway, Manic Nirvana was definitely his most popular solo album at the time, and we were all really into it. And there was this rumor going around that Jimmy Page, because I guess on that tour, Jimmy Page actually showed up at some of the venues, and they played a couple songs together.
Oh, yeah. So you
So
were like,
like,
I wanna
Oh,
see
Jimmy! And of course, you know how it is. They're like, "Yeah, we heard Jimmy Page is going to be here," so we're all super excited. So the guitarist that they did have, he came out, and they
It sucks to be him.
They must have intentionally did this. Had the Gibson guitar, was dressed just like Jimmy Page, and for 5 minutes we thought, "Oh, dude, Jimmy Page is here. He's playing with Robert." We thought it was awesome, and then we found out it was. It was still a great concert.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Aaron,
Aerosmith.
same question.
Yeah. Aerosmith. And Jackal opened up for them.
Oh, I've seen.
I remember seeing Jackal too.
Yep.
Yeah. That was it was fun. It was like that was my high school
With the
one, you know.
chainsaw.
Yeah, then you cut the chair on the stage and stuff like that. Yeah. When I was in junior high, Aerosmith's album, Permanent Vacation, I really dug and I listened to that quite a bit. And when I moved back to the
That's a good-
States, I got my driver's license and, was now in high school and they were coming to town. I'm like, I'm going to go check them out. And so that was it. Me and
Nice.
a buddy went and saw them, and it was cool.
Nice.
How about
My
you?
first
Brett?
concert that The Cure. My girlfriend at the time, Linda and her friend Sarah.
Oh, Sarah.
Sarah is a actress in Hollywood.
Wow.
And
And why isn't she on the show?
I'm not name dropping. Yeah. Anyway, they were like, "Hey, going to a concert. You want to go?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Seem to be making the story
It's The Cure.
all about you right now, but that's fine. Oh, that is.
It is
okay,
about me, yeah.
That's fine.
Anyway, so yeah, then we went to this concert. I was probably freshman, maybe or so in high school, and I didn't know anything about him. I was kind of
That's a pretty cool concert.
surprised when I mean, I was surprised because the guy next to me is wearing like all black and he's super pale and black lipstick and black fingernail polish, and here I am probably wearing a tie and hey guys, hi everybody.
You're like, I'm more of a
I'm
Cars
sure.
guy. I'm sorry.
Who's the who?
I'll have that knit square tie,
What's the name of the lead singer of The Cure?
Robert Smith.
Okay, so have you seen him lately?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's an older version of exactly
Yes.
what I just
Yes.
described. Pale, dark hair,
Yeah.
dark makeup,
Almost,
whatever. Dark.
almost looks kind of freaky.
I don't
I guess he
know.
likes
I think it's his look, man. That's his always. He's always
It's him.
been
Yeah.
that way,
Yeah, at least
you
he's consistent.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's change it up a little bit. What was the last concert that you saw?
My band played last night.
Right.
That was the last show I saw,
That was the
actually.
last one. Yeah, it was right.
Humans
No.
Among Us.
For me, that's right. Yeah, look at the plug there. We are available on iTunes. So no, Roger Waters was mine. I saw him
nice.
in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool.
Right on.
Yeah.
My last show was Pussifer.
Okay.
Oh, Pussifer.
Pussifer. Yes.
Thanks for
those who don't know-
enunciating.
For those who don't know, Maynard James Keenan, lead singer of Tool, one of his side bands.
Right on.
He's got 3 bands, right?
3 bands, yep. Tool, Perfect Circle, and Pussifer.
Yeah. Yeah, I was turned on to Tool and Pussifer more than Perfect Circle, but by Len. Len introduced me, and I'm a fan.
I will say the cool thing about the Pussifer shows is there is definitely an entertainment component. There's
Huge.
definitely something unique that you're not going to expect, whether it's comedy or one tour they had wrestlers was their opening act was a bunch of
Yeah.
wrestlers and
Tag team.
yeah, tag team wrestling, and then the wrestlers hung out on stage and got the crowd going through the songs. And it's a show every time.
It was entertaining.
It's absolutely entertainment.
Yeah.
And the most recent tour, they have this like alien theme going on. So there were like these alien dudes, a little story that you can follow along with through the show that's
Yeah.
going on in stage and little people coming out and acting and stuff like that. It is definitely more than just a concert. It is an experience.
I have a couple like that too. I don't want to jump ahead, but I think we can talk about at some point, circle back on these most entertaining
Hey,
ones.
it's your show.
I'm going to try this. And anyone ever seen Alice Cooper?
No.
Nope.
Nope.
Oh my God. I was never a huge fan of his stuff. I think he was innovative for what he did, but like, it just wasn't my stuff that I listened to. And I went to see Motley Crue, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago or something like that. And Alice Cooper was opening up for them. And I was floored by the show. It was amazing. And he puts on such a performance that then he came back to Fort Wayne here a couple years later, and I went and I drug Karen to it. I'm like, we got to go see this show. And she had a blast. It was such a great performance, and he's such an entertainer. I highly recommend if you get a chance to check it out, even if you don't really care for his music, to go check it out, because it blends well, and it was just a great performance all around.
Nice. What was your last one, Chuck?
Believe it or not, it was this band over the wintertime called El Bolo.
El Bolo?
El Bolo, and they are a younger Italian opera group.
Oh.
3 guys. I went to see it with my wife and her family. Interested to see what it was like. I was actually blown away.
That's cool.
They sang in 3 different languages.
It's rock music? What kind of music?
It's opera.
Opera. You said that,
Yeah.
and I just didn't listen.
So they sing in Italian, English, and Spanish, depending upon what songs. And they even came out and they did, like, each of them did a version of some kind of popular rock musician. So one of them did Elvis, one of them did Sinatra, I can't remember what the other one, the third guy did, but it was, I went in and I listened to it in the back home. My wife was listening to it, and it's definitely interesting. Rap is not really my thing that I would listen to, but I was pretty impressed. It was
El Bolo.
El Bolo, yeah.
All right.
There you
Check
go.
them out. They really are. What was the name of Pavarotti? It was that they kind
Pavarotti?
of are. No, but they.
Oh yeah,
It was
that's
like
his name.
there was
That guy.
Pavarotti and the
That's the
two.
one.
Yeah.
Pavarotti and the two other guys were there. I don't remember what
Pavarotti
their
trio.
I don't. That was something. But they're like I don't want to say the replacement of those, but they're like the next generation of that. I guess I'll say.
Okay. Right on.
Brett, is this where we get the first Billy Joel drop?
That's where it's.
We were
going.
waiting. We had a side bet.
No, William Martin Joel was not the last concert that I.
Oh, I'm talking his legal name now. Okay.
So I did see Humans Among Us not too long ago, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I think the last big show was Chris Stapleton in Wrigley.
It was a great concert.
It was a really good show.
I think he really has that control of the notes he plays. It's not about how technical it is, but what he's not playing.
Yeah.
And the space he leaves in that music that I dig a lot.
Yeah.
That's
I agree
cool.
with you on that one. Yeah. As an artist, he's just an incredible artist. That voice is just killer.
Yeah.
I mean, song structure really cool. And he's hard to put in a box, really. I know he's country, but he's country blues, he's rock, he's everything. I mean,
Yeah. His old band, I think, was more blues. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but yeah, good stuff. It was a good show. Really good show. So, and maybe it's one of the same ones that you guys mentioned. Your favorite concert that you've been to? Anyone?
Favorite or best?
Okay. Sound like you're splitting hairs on this one, but
Well, I actually
sure.
Maybe.
All right. Well, okay.
Yeah, I can see that.
So
I would say
don't agree with him.
my favorite has got to be between the Crossroads Festival, Woodstock '94, and Alice in Chains, who I've seen a few times. Crossroads that was phenomenal. That was at Toyota Park. I don't remember the year. I had Clapton, John Mayer, Buddy Guy, Steve Winwood, a bunch of other artists, and it was a great show.
All right.
Woodstock '94. That had Metallica, Collective Soul, Live, Jackal. Who mentioned Jackal before?
That was me.
No, you, Aaron?
For Aerosmith, yep.
Yeah. The only thing that they really had was that Chainsaw song.
Yeah, I don't even remember that
Maybe I
song. I
followed
think
up.
it's just the
They
fact that
wrote
they had a
that though
chainsaw.
hard.
He did. He wrote it.
Yeah.
So he couldn't any longer, but that was also all about the experience. 500,000 people.
Wow.
Just being buzzed the whole time.
Yeah.
Some form or fashion, and it was a lot of fun. Alice in Chains, I'm a big fan of them. Plus, they just always seem to put on a good show. That's why I put them down as my favorite.
I've seen Alice in Chains before, and they are like they sound so good.
They do.
In concert. You can tell
they
that
got
they
it
are
down.
truly in tune with each other, and just they've played so much together that it sounds amazing in concert.
I've never seen them.
I haven't either, but I
Do
would
they
love to.
Do they sound? Are they completely different than their albums? Or they
No,
sound like
that's
just
why
like
I've always-
them? Or
No, that's why I'm always impressed with them. And the whole thing about Alice in Chains that people don't realize is when I first started listening to them, I couldn't figure out what that whole, like the Lane Staley vocal structure was. I thought, was he just turning his reverb up or whatever? And I didn't know Jerry Cantrell and him are harmonizing through almost, if not every song.
Yeah.
That's what makes it sound like it does. And I was like, oh, that's what it is.
It's this depth.
Yeah.
You don't get a lot of them.
It's no other rock band does it, not for the extent that they do it. And I would think that's really hard to replicate in a live show, going from an album, and they do it really well. Yeah.
what's your favorite?
There's really not anything that comes close. I think about like maybe Linkin Park, but they
Yeah.
don't sing together. They take turns. So it's
Yeah.
a different kind of.
Yeah.
Like the Beatles did
Different.
that. John and Paul did that, but nothing new.
Yeah.
I can't think of a lot of newer bands to do that.
What was your favorite, Len?
So my favorite band to see live is Tool, and they're my favorite band, so that I'm a little biased there. But what I love about their shows is that they always bring something unique and unexpected. There was one tour where they had halfway through the show, they had these two contortionists hanging from the rafters, like hanging upside down, that were like doing all these moves and swinging to the songs that they were playing. And so it's always unique. They have these video graphics that are in line with their music and are just super trippy. And they are probably one of the like tightest bands that I've ever seen on stage. Like it sounds like it's exactly taken from the record. And it's always amazing to me. Had an opportunity to see them a couple years ago on a tour. I splurged and got the VIP tickets, which included going to sound check, getting a picture with the band.
Nice.
You get a seat in the first 3 rows and you get merch and all that stuff. And being able to see a band like that from one of the first couple of rows is an experience that just, it's so amazing, because you can see like the band interacting with each other.
Yeah.
And you can see like, you can like visually see them feeding off the energy of the crowd and changing things up and like looking at each other at certain parts of songs, like giving each other cues and all those little things that when you're in section 221 looking at a screen,
you don't see
at a concert, you never see any of that stuff.
Right.
And so it's like a whole different level of experience at a show. So that, for that reason, that's probably the best show, my favorite show that I've ever been to. Definitely there are some other unique experiences, but love to see Tool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a really good show. I know Len and I have seen Pussifer together and Tool now. Yeah, Maynard is, I think he's just unknown to so many people, and heard him on another podcast where I'm just a poet. I'm like, that's awesome. Like, I think he is one of the things that makes him unique too, is as the front man, he very much doesn't want to be the front man. You know, He just wants to pass it off to everybody else. And that's so different than so many other front men.
That's weird. I've never been to a live show of them, but I've watched, like on YouTube and stuff. And it is weird to see a guy literally standing off to the side.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the dark. Like,
Yeah. You never know what you're going to get to. I remember going to the first Pussifer tour, and they put out this album, and it's like a weird hard rock comedy album, nothing like Tool at all. And so you listen to it and you're like, okay, this is all right, I can get into this. And then I remember going to the concert, and the concert started, and the first 5 or 6 songs, they had taken all of their songs from that album and turned them into country songs. So it was like,
Nice.
You go, like, my only reference point is knowing Tool, and I go to this concert, and it's like this whole like country western backdrop, like there's tumbleweed and there's these dudes in cowboy hats sitting on the porch,
You're like,
and
what
like
the hell?
they're playing all the songs that I know from the album, but it's all, they've turned them into country songs.
was that the one where he was hiding behind the camera? Like
Well, yes. So then there's like an intermission, and I've gone with my wife, and we look at each other. Okay, this is weird, right? We didn't know we were going to a country show, and so they play whatever 6, 7 songs, and then they do a little intermission, and then 10 minutes later, the stage is completely changed, and it's like a metal show with all their songs. Like
Nice.
they did 2 versions of all their songs, and they came out, and it was the weirdest, most unique thing I had ever experienced.
Cool.
And it was just very cool, because no one would have expected that.
Yeah.
Well, what was the broadcast thing that they just did, subscription thing, and they at one point started doing, and I don't remember what album it was, but they're like around a campfire and campers, and they're just sitting out and like acoustic guitars, and I'm like,
Yeah.
there's no way they're gonna play
I love
whatever
when
song,
bands do
and,
that kind of shit.
and it was like, holy fuck, they just did it.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
So that started during COVID. They couldn't play live, so they took each of their albums and recorded a live version with all the characters from that era of their music and put it out as like a pay-per-view or whatever on, I think they have a Pussifer TV type of thing.
Right.
And they just, so you would get an entire album at a time, and it was like a pay-per-view. And like during COVID, we ate that up. Like that was just awesome.
Right. Interesting.
Maynard, if you're listening, we are open to having you on the show. And if you want us to come out and record an episode at your vineyard, we're in. All right, what was your favorite? What?
What
Oh,
was
me?
yours? Yeah.
I I'm a huge Ben Folds fan, so I thoroughly enjoy all of his shows. I've seen him solo, I've seen him with band, I've seen him with orchestras. The man is just a musical genius.
Yeah.
You can go and Google one of those where he leads the orchestra, and Aaron, you and I have seen it, and I've seen him do it multiple times. But he'll go and get the orchestra, and he'll take like a lyric, like literally out of the brochure for the concert, and he'll make a song up on the spot, and then he gets instrument. He tells them what to play, and then he constructs the song, and then they play the song, and then he makes up lyrics like on the spot. It's just amazing.
It's pretty cool. It is actually pretty fun.
Yeah. So I've seen him. He's up there now as far as who I've seen the most.
Yeah, I have one of those as well. We can circle back to.
Did you tell us your favorite?
No, not yet.
All right, hit us.
Beastie Boys. I saw them in.
That's one guys I would have loved to see it. Never.
Man, like I was obviously growing up in the 80s, License to Ill was huge. And then I did enjoy Paul's Boutique, but not until later years that I went back to it. But Lollapalooza 94, I went to see, and they came out, and it was the most energetic show I've ever seen in my life. They were just loud and all over the place. There was nonstop. You could not jump around and just feel the energy of the entire crowd. And
that's a different band. Jump Around. That's a different band.
Yeah,
that's right.
Nobody else sings that.
A little more chill, right? But it was amazing, and it was a blast. They played all the best hits, all their hits. It was great. What was really funny about it, and I like this band too, the Beastie Boys were the second to the last band, and then the headliner was Smashing Pumpkins, and which was cool. I don't mind early Smashing Pumpkins. I enjoyed it. I don't know that I really listened to much of them past Melancholy, but Beastie Boys had so much energy, and it was just such an amazing show. And then Billy Corgan comes out, and he's playing a 25-minute feedback solo, and we just sucked the air right out of the room, and we all just took off. Like, we didn't even stick around because we were just dead. We were no more energy in us at all. It was cool.
So I got a couple of follow-up questions regarding some stuff that you touched on, but new question that I have in my mind. Have you guys ever walked out of a show, a concert?
Yes.
I've walked out of some local stuff, but never.
Not like
never
big
like
act.
that
Big
paid,
I have occasionally left before the encore to beat traffic.
Fair enough.
Yeah, in fairness,
I've gone to concerts where I like the opening band more than the headliner.
Yeah.
And so I'm just there to see them. And so once,
I get that.
Yeah.
I thought you meant like this because it was so bad.
But that too. I know in my head I just don't remember who it was.
Oh, I was gonna say I got to know the name of the bands.
I haven't walked out of any show because of this is horrible. I walked out because I got free tickets to one, and it was like, it's just not my vibe. And I'm like, I wasn't digging it, so I'm going to take off.
Yeah. Yeah. I've gone to shows where I felt like walking out because the sound was so crappy. I saw Zach Brown, and it was an outdoor amphitheater thing, and it just sounded so bad. The speakers were cracking, and
Was that at Tinley Park?
yeah, it was.
Yeah,
actually.
their
Yeah.
sound system sucks.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
it was horrible.
Actually, I'm going to talk about that.
Oh.
The next part of it.
It's a nice segue. Go for it. What do you want to
Well,
talk about?
If are we still going over bands or what?
Well, go.
Oh, you want to talk about just venues? Well,
I want to talk about what makes a good rock concert and
let's
the
do
sound
it.
system. Is
Yeah.
definitely
Tell us.
part of that.
tell us. You take the lead on this one. Go.
Say,
Mm-hmm.
okay. So it's mostly a good venue, right? And that like
I don't know.
Is it indoor? Is it outdoor? And you got to have good seats, and it's got to have a good sound system. I say that those are three. I would say out of all those three, though, having a good sound system is probably the most important. Because if you have a shitty sound system, like Tinley Park, I've been there for a couple concerts. I won't go there again.
Yeah.
I don't know why they can't just invest some goddamn money in that place and make it sound better. But if it sucks, you're like, I could just went to a bar and watch the band play.
I'm getting mixed signals here. How do you feel about this?
Just after some consideration, I would say the sound system is the most important.
Yeah. Not to mention getting out of there sucks, but
If the band actually shows up, and I don't mean show up, if they show up, if they seem like they really want to play and entertain, I can't imagine it's easy to do, especially nowadays when everything is touring, right? That's how they make their money.
yeah.
Obviously, you want to hear the hits. I always like to hear some solos from all the artists. I like the guitar solo, the bass solo, drums, a little keyboard to drag it out. I think that's pretty key.
Oh, I see.
Sometimes having a little buzz,
Yeah.
Yeah.
off of what is your choice. Being with people that you enjoy.
That I see, and I think that's huge.
Being with people you enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
I can go to a concert by myself, and it's
Yeah.
just gonna.
And I would. That was gonna be my question. Would you guys go to a concert?
yeah.
by yourself?
Oh, yeah.
No, no.
Have done that.
And you have. I would say I definitely would. I haven't yet, but I would.
I have friends.
Yeah. No, but I
It's
mean,
like,
just
I would if anyone wants to go.
Yeah. By the way, I got tickets.
if anybody doesn't want to go to this concert, then But yeah, that's.
All right.
You
I like that.
I've done some travel
good.
by myself for work, and wherever I go, I look and see just by chance what's
Yeah,
playing.
why not?
There was one just chance opportunity where Jack White was playing with the Raconteurs in the place where I was, and I went and saw it just by myself. It was awesome, but
That's cool.
it wasn't as good as it would have been if I was there with a group of people.
Right.
So it's not like you're getting your drink on by yourself. I mean,
right.
you might have a drink or two. Not saying you have to be drunk to enjoy a show, but
Yeah. I would agree, Chuck, with some of the things you said. If I think about what are the things that make a great concert, for me, there has to be a high level of energy back and forth between the crowd and the musician. Concerts to me are almost like they're almost a religious experience where there's that feeling that you get from live music, and you can feel the music, and you can feel the energy, and it's all these people in one spot.
orgasmic. You know.
Are you talking about Billy Joel again now? Is this the Billy Joel drop? There it is.
That guy had-
Piano Man.
Anyway, yeah, I think also there's got to be something memorable about it. I think there has to be a good mix between being tight as a band and embracing improvisation at the right moments. I've gone to shows before where a band will be very solid, and then they'll take one or two of their songs and just do something crazy with it, and it's like amazing.
Yeah.
I think it's important for the band to have fun and to be able to tell that the band's having fun, that they're engaged, like you were talking about, Chuck. And yeah, it's got to be an experience, not just an event for me.
Yeah. I saw Sting years ago, and he was one of those, every single song was different than what you heard on the album or what you've always heard. And you knew the words and you could sing along, but it was every single
The
one was
structure was
different.
there, but it's different.
Right. And he said, sorry, I've been playing some of these songs for 20 years. I don't want to keep playing it the same
That's
way.
what I wonder how bands do it. I wonder how they.
I've heard that before.
First of all, they have to travel so much, like back-to-back nights, and like you're not seeing your family. You're on the road all the time. You're sleeping literally out of a suitcase, and then you have to go play, and you have to keep up. It's a lot, man.
I've heard something similar, like along the lines of when you create a hit, let's just use Margaritaville, for example, you need to love that song so much that you're willing to play it every other night for the next 20 years.
Well,
And
I would argue you don't have to, though. Like, you're right. The audience expects it, but like Radiohead's a really good example. The Creep is arguably one of their biggest, most powerful songs that everyone likes. They don't play it. They hate it.
well,
Yeah,
right. No. And
I heard that.
And I think it's obviously situational, but yeah, like, fuck, like if you get tired of that song, like everybody wants it, you know? And so more power to them for not singing it. But
I think that's probably the exception more than the rule, Aaron. Think about
I agree.
Metallica not playing Master of Puppets or Enter Sandman.
yeah,
Like,
Or
you don't
one,
play Sandman. Come on.
Yeah, but I think.
Billy Joel not playing Piano Man.
I think the difference with Metallica is they have so many hits
Orgasmic.
that they could get away.
you can
with.
play one or the other.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
don't think they could not play both.
Radiohead, they have Creep is really the only song I know by them. Maybe on one or two songs, if they were played, I might recognize them. But I don't even. How do they get away? You got to be a fan. You got to be a fan to go to the
Yeah,
show.
they've
and
got a huge catalog.
not
But if
be
you're into
okay
them,
with not. Yeah,
Chuck, you mentioned something that brought up a great question. You said Beastie Boys you would have liked to have
Oh,
seen.
I'd love-
Who have you missed out on for one reason or another? Somebody died or they broke up or whatever. Besides Beastie Boys.
well, Beasties. I was a huge Beastie Boys fan when they came out. I was, and all my friends there in high school. But I was also into rap a little bit, like Run DMC, Houdini, U2FO, all the early bands that came out. I grouped into that, and I actually didn't come more into rock until later. And BCs were somewhat of a transition for that because I always liked
Yeah,
them
they were
because
hard.
they have their own unique sound. They were rock, they were rap, they were rock rap. They just did all kinds of crazy shit, and I think they were
Very experimental.
underrated musicians too.
So was there somebody else besides Beastie Boys that you would have liked to have seen?
I would have liked to see Steve Ray Vaughan again. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That would have been nice. Yeah.
What about you, Len?
So for me, I missed out a couple bands that I would have loved to see that I missed out on. One is White Zombie. I remember they toured with Rage Against the Machine, who's another one on their list. I
Oh,
would have
Rage is
seen.
what I've always wanted to see.
Yeah, both of those.
They
I would
toured
have liked to have
together
seen.
in the early 90s, and it was like right at the age when I was just starting to go to concerts, and I just didn't go. And to be able to go to White Zombie, Rage Against the Machine would have been amazing. And obviously, they both morphed into different things today than they were back then. I was very thankful I got to see Soundgarden on their last tour. I know we're huge Chris Cornell fans here on this podcast, so
I'm a huge Chris Cornell.
but if there was if we're talking about bands from any time period that I would love to see, I would have paid a substantial amount of money to go see Led Zeppelin. Like when it was the band in their heyday, that would have been like the ultimate experience.
So Len's a little bit younger than the rest of us, but they weren't even close to being around when you.
They were broken up when
listening
we
to
were
music.
starting to
Yeah, we were little
1980 was their last show.
Yeah,
I hadn't thought about that when we put this list together, who you had missed and wish you had seen. I hadn't really even thought about bands that had broken up. The Beatles, I would have obviously loved to go and see and that kind of stuff. But like,
for sure.
I took this question as more as who did I have the opportunity to see that I just didn't? And for me, the Grateful Dead, I had multiple opportunities, and I wasn't a Deadhead necessarily, but I appreciated their music and I appreciated the vibe of it, and the experience is what it's all about. And I didn't go, and Whistle even died.
That's the same as me, actually. It was the Dead. My roommate in college was like, dude, let's go see the show. And I'm like, dude, they come around every summer. And sure as fuck, in my head, it was one of the last shows that they did.
Yeah.
Was that one. Like,
They did.
damn it, I missed.
They did tour all the time.
Yeah, they were always on the road.
I seen them once, possibly twice.
Even
And I don't. Yeah, it like you're talking about, and Aaron just said, it is really for them. For me, I don't listen to the Dead. I'm not going to turn on my radio. It is about the experience. It is going.
Well,
it,
part of it's just going to the parking lot for the Dead.
yeah, I was going to say that, and
I just took
Finding miscellaneous drugs.
Huh. What is
or
this?
or whippets.
Wow. We do not condone that.
How about
Yeah. Anyone ever been to Burning Man?
No,
I would love to go though. I
I
don't know
actually
why.
think it would be fun. Yeah, I totally would go.
I think it would be fun.
I think it'd be
I'm
an
gonna
interesting
put on
experience.
my thong and I'm gonna head out there with my antlers and yeah, fuck yeah.
Eat some peyote and
Yeah. How
All right,
about
so,
worst concert? How
yeah.
about that? I know I'm probably
Worst
skipping ahead,
concert.
Brett. I'm sorry. I'm taking
No, hey, there's no format to this.
worst
all right,
concert you've ever
so
been to.
this is embarrassing. But I did go see Sarah McLachlan one time when I was in high school.
Okay.
Save the puppies.
Wah, wah, wah.
So was it worse because you just weren't into it, or was it just a bad concert? Like just not like the sound was bad.
Just not
or-
into it.
Okay.
Just not into
So
it.
yeah,
Did you go with the
let's say
girl?
your least
Yes.
favorite concert you've been to. So that's
Ding,
probably
ding,
your
ding,
least.
ding, ding, ding.
Yep.
Chuck, how about you?
that's a tough one. But I would say like the least favorite concert I've been to is probably Jimmy Buffett.
Okay.
He that's like another thing where no, you don't really listen to his music except for where Brett and I used to work. They played it
Yeah.
nonstop all the time because it was like a Key West theme. It just got to be fucking annoying. So you go there for the experience. It's fun to see all the so-called what do they call them, finheads. He plays his songs, but I was never into him. You know?
Parrot heads, not the
I
fin
don't
heads.
see
The
them right.
parrot
Parrot
heads.
heads.
Oh,
yeah.
parrot heads, whatever.
No, but you're thinking fins to the left, fins to the right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
So I would say that's my least.
I have gone to several Buffett concerts, and I actually enjoy them. But I wasn't inundated with it. I remember where you guys worked, and man, that was like, you're right. It was all the time. I can see getting sick of it, and I don't think I'd enjoy it.
I mean, I think that's really how I was introduced to him, and
Yeah,
I think
same.
I was introduced and killed by him at the same time.
Yeah.
When you hear some of the songs, same song, like
Yeah.
maybe it's 5 different, slightly different variations.
they're all the
and, but they're all the same.
I will say what's disappointing for me about it is when there are artists or bands who continue to play well past maybe the time that they should, and maybe they don't remember the songs as well, or they don't remember the lyrics as well, and it's just obvious.
Yeah.
That's just too much for me. You need to know when to hang it up, and so that's definitely something I've experienced.
I don't think that's easy for them though.
Oh no,
like,
because they all like the money.
I was gonna say for the monetary part of it.
I mean,
I also think.
I think it's money, but it's a passion. Like you're a
Yeah,
it's all for the last 40 years, maybe.
It's a passion and it's your identity, right?
Yeah.
So you want to continue to have people to keep yourself relevant. So
to me, that's like the Who is them.
dude, I would have loved to see the Who. Are they?
But if you go to see them now, it's just not what it would have been.
Right.
Yeah.
And
That's what I'm saying. Like,
that's how you
stop.
want to remember the Who.
Yeah.
Case, it's a good example. I saw Guns N' Roses a few years back, and it was the only time I've ever seen them, and I enjoyed it, but it was very different than 1994 Guns N' Roses.
Yeah,
And it was just like, okay, it was a cool show, and it was nice to see, and then I'm done with it. Brett, what was your worst show? Or least favorite show, whatever.
I don't go to concerts unless I want to see them, or maybe if I'm going with both Chuck and Len have done this, or they introduced me to a new artist, and they're like, trust me, you're going to like it, and I do. So I don't go to concerts nearly as often as you do, Aaron, or as Len. So I'm a little bit more finicky. I don't really have.
What was
one
then
that
your
just
most
sticks out.
disappointing show then? Of all those concerts you went to, is
Well,
there one that just
I'll
didn't
tie-
live up to
I'll
what
tie
you're
into-
thinking?
Yeah. Okay. So I'll tie it into one that is most shocking that I've seen besides Sarah McLachlan for Len. I saw Michael Jackson, and I will say it's one of the, I never would have bought a ticket. My mom won him on a radio station, and I saw him at Madison Square Garden, I think it was. And in hindsight, yeah, I'm glad that I saw the concert. But at one point, he went to the front of the stage and he knelt down, and the crowd is cheering for him, and he's
Holding a
all
baby.
the little boys are in front of him.
Yeah.
wow. The camera's zooming in on him, and he's, I don't know, maybe he was a sensitive guy and he was crying because the crowd was so loud, but you couldn't see any tears, and he's just like up there whimpering, and you see him like shake as he's doing this, and the crowd
much.
goes ape shit every time he quivered.
I'm gonna call bullshit.
Exactly. It was like 15 minutes of this, dude. Come on.
Really?
Every
But-
night in every city.
Exactly. But I will give him credit. People touched me. At the same time, it was a very entertaining show because he had a different costume for every song. He dances, like, used to dance really well. And yeah, so it was entertaining. Not a show that I would have paid to go see. But yeah, I'm not saying it was the worst concert. Just definitely not my music that I listen to. But I'm, in hindsight, totally glad I went.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Mine was disappointing. It was George Clinton. I'd seen him twice. I'm sorry, I'd seen him 3 times. And the first time I saw him was Lollapalooza 94, and it was amazing. He was younger, obviously. Very much still in lots of energy and everything else. He got the crowd hyped up. He went out into the crowd. There was a whole big like conga line going on. It was amazing. And he just really was a good
Nothing
artist.
says good concert like a conga line.
It was awesome. Like it was just
I was in the
good raw
conga line.
funk, you know?
George Clinton.
And then
I'm
I won tickets to go see him when I lived in D.C., and he put on a good show. That was at the 930 Club, and that was really great. So then about maybe 4 years ago, it was before the pandemic, he had come here, and I was like, oh, I'd hyped him up already with my wife. I'm like, you got to go. It's a great show. It's a lot of fun, lots of energy, that kind of stuff. And he's now 75, 80 years old, and they wheel him out. He doesn't sing much. He stands up a couple
Literally
times.
wheeled him out.
Yeah, literally. And he doesn't sing much. He stands up a couple times and sings, but the whole show is now other bands and hip hop artists and things like that that are jumping up and singing. And it's okay. Like, it was all great music, but it wasn't what I was expecting. I wanted George Clinton, and instead I got like a hip hop concert, and it just wasn't. It didn't vibe for me like I was hoping for that. And so I was really disappointed, and especially having seen him twice previously where it was an amazing show. It was, to your point, when should you give it up? And I think this was a good example of maybe it was time to call it quits.
I can understand that. I went to the Page and Plant reunion tour when they did Walking the Clarksdale or whatever that album was. And it was like, we're not Led Zeppelin, but we're still playing together. And I went to that concert. I remember going to it. My expectations were probably off because I wanted
Probably
to hear
Led Zeppelin. You were expecting
and
that.
they played like 1 or 2 obscure Led Zeppelin songs, and the rest was like their new material. And I remember just leaving and being like, man, that's not what I was looking for.
Yeah.
like in regard to the album, why did they not ask John Paul Jones just to play on the album too? Why would you? I mean, I just think that was so. Who the fuck does that, man?
Yeah.
That guy contributed just as much to Led Zeppelin as all the other members. Like, why would you not?
Mm-hmm.
I know Robert Plant always states that he never wanted to do. They did a couple of shows and they had Jason Bonham, John Bonham's son play, who I think is a good drummer in his own right. He's played with all kinds of different bands, but he said that he would never get back to Led Zeppelin because John Bonham wasn't there anymore. But but you say that, but you get back together with Page, but you don't ask John Paul Jones. Like,
Who knows all the inner workings?
yeah, I know. I'm sure there's all the inner turmoil of every band, but I did think that album was okay, though. Page and Plant one. Had a few good songs.
All right, thanks.
All right. If you like what you heard today, you can check us out at aysm.show. You can learn more about Brett and I, and also see some pictures of our guests, Len and Chuck. Again, thank you. You can also follow us on Spotify and iTunes and Amazon Music, and anywhere you get your podcast, you can listen to us right now. What was your favorite concert? Leave it in the notes. Tell us your favorite concert story. We definitely want to hear what you do and maybe how you feel about concerts. What are some criteria that makes a good concert that we didn't talk about today? So there we go.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate you listening. Hey, Aaron, what are we doing next time?